Yes, 2018, a revolutionary year, coming to an end. Yeah, it appears to be so soon, eh? Yeah. Time flies. But anyway, the young democratic forces have some thoughts to express, and I must say that these represent my final thoughts uh, for the year 2018, and it's on the big subject of the building of a national cathedral. I stand vehemently opposed to this fraudulent idea, and indeed I have said that the building of the national cathedral is a pious fraud, and our president is a victim of the church. Yes, that's controversial. Well, that's what you think. I am an absolute believer that church and state must be as separate as reason and belief. I mean, anybody who mixes up the two, reason and belief, is confused. And people who are confused have no business running a state, especially a state like Ghana, poor country like Ghana that needs to reason its way out of poverty and ignorance and disease and underdevelopment. Obviously, what our leaders are trying to do is to encourage widows on this side of heaven to pray our way out of poverty, forgetting that the same Bible teaches, or the same Christian theology teaches, that heaven help those who help themselves. Is that not what they say? Well, in my several years of studying and practicing Christianity, I have never read or heard that heaven help those who pray in monumental buildings, unless maybe my Bible is edited. Anyway, there are so many versions of the Bible, so maybe in their Bible, in the President's Bible, in Duncan Williams' Bible, perhaps heaven is in a monumental building, but not in our Bible. I mean, we the poor people of Ghana, we the people, we don't think that this monumental cathedral will bring us any tangible benefits. And for those of you who think, yes, it's a good idea, yes, of course, building a church is a good idea. But good ideas can be covered by a fraud, can be covered by good ideas. Fraud can be covered by piety. I tell you, so many people are going to benefit, they're going to reap a lot of money, become rich through this cathedral. Politicians, members of government, even opposition people, contractors, etc., individuals, the church are going to become rich because of this cathedral. Believe me, it's all about profit. It's not about the people or about God's blessing or whatever. Forget about all the words that they use to try to confuse you. And we are not a Christian nation. Even if we're a Christian nation, we still need to develop based on reasonable approaches and not otherwise. And we are not a Christian nation. There are traditionalists, Muslims, unbelievers, Christians. In our country, we are secular. So I don't know why some people want to create this impression that we're a Christian nation. We need some cathedral to be able to secure the blessings of God. Please, that you can only say that to those who refuse to use their God created reason. And I know some people are going to say that I should be ignored because I'm speaking out of human reason. Or perhaps they will say that I'm not born again. And even the most blinded ones will say, oh, you're NDC, that's why you're against it. You say whatever you like. In the debate of our democracy, everybody has an opinion. But, opinions will always be trampled upon by the truth. The truth will always prevail over mere opinions. And look, don't let anybody deceive you and tell you that we are speaking out of human reason. Don't forget, there's not like human reason. What is human reason? God created human reason, no human created reason. God created reason, and we're supposed to use this reason in every endeavor that we, including the belief in God. I don't see how anyone can actually believe in God without using his reason, by just following and listening. I mean, and believing everything that is being told. How can you? So, I mean, don't let anybody confuse about human reason, this, that. And look, and if you ask me, the only reason why they bring up these mysteries and miracles and prophecies, which they used to confuse you anyway, don't let them confuse you with all these obfuscating terms. You know, there's nothing mystical about the word of God, about the moral goodness of God, about practicing the moral goodness of God, which is what Christianity is or religion is. I mean, the only reason why they bring up these mysteries and prophecies and miracles is to cover that moral truth and moral goodness of God, because the God I believe in is the God of truth. So how can truth be covered by mysteries and all these terms that they use and try to confuse us, you know? And don't forget that they are trying to cover this moral truth and the goodness of God, in whose name they are attempting under false pretense to profit from. They are actually profiting. Believe me, they are going to make a lot of profit. And look, what is the most reasonable argument that the money is not going to come from the taxpayer? They are actually setting up an independent committee of fundraisers to raise the money. Indeed, they have set up the committee headed by Duncan Williams. And on Sunday, you know what he told his congregation? He told his congregation that they must bring out all the money that is meant to go for them to go on holidays in Dubai, in Europe, etc. They should bring it out. For the cathedral, that the chair at the fundraising dinner on the 28th will be $1,000 and the table is $10,000. Yes. And that instead of going on holiday to distress yourself, to have some good time, to improve your quality of life and your well-being, you should bring it to them to build a cathedral. Meanwhile, Duncan Williams and his family are going abroad every day, every week. In fact, his family is living abroad. And yet, he's telling you that he's the only one here. His family deserves to go abroad for holidays, but you bring it to him. He will use it for cathedral, because one day your children's children will benefit. And that, excuse me, one day one of your children will become a president and they will benefit. I really don't understand. This is very, very, very amusing coming from Duncan Williams. I don't know if these are part of his prophecies for 2019. I mean, no wonder the prophets of the Bible were poets and entertainers. I mean, this is very entertaining. I want to ask Duncan Williams, is he saying that investing in holidays abroad or wherever is a wasteful expenditure? Then why does he go on holidays all the time with his family? I mean, and how are our children going to benefit from a monumental cathedral? I don't understand. And how will a future president benefit from a monumental cathedral? I mean, no wonder people are saying that, this cathedral is just meant for the funerals of statesmen and former presidents and etc. etc. I mean, it is obvious that this is an idea that has been created by people in their twilight who are just preoccupied with the thoughts of the afterlife. I mean, majority of the people in Ghana are young and poor. So any social gospel, worthwhile social gospel, must be geared towards uplifting the young people out of this poverty. Giving shelter to the homeless, giving medicines to the sick, helping the destitute. But you are going to, if you are so creative and you know how to raise funds, why haven't we heard that you have done a national fundraising exercise to raise millions of dollars like you are trying to raise now, to put clothes on the back of the naked ones and to put food on the table of the poor? Why haven't you ever done that? I mean, I tell you, Jesus Christ was a foremost philanthropist. And he lived a frugal life. He was meek. He was all about the poor. And this building of a cathedral will not please Jesus Christ, because this building is going to take food away from the table of the poor. Yes, it is only meant to please people who have replaced their God-given reason with mere belief. And I say this without apology. I mean, tangible benefit, physical tangible benefits, I don't see how that is going to come. So the president's precious time is the taxpayers' money. They shouldn't tell us that the president is not going to use the taxpayers' money. His time, his energy, all the energy is wasted. The mental energy and the time and the debate we are doing is all taxpayers' money that is being drained. And it is we, the people who own all these buildings, that are going to pull down in place of this cathedral. You know, Professor Awono will say cathedral of doom. They are putting up cathedrals of doom. So they can tell more lies and they can rob the people the more, Yes, they preach frugality and they are showing opulence. I mean, what kind of leadership is this? I mean, I really think that that argument that the money don't come from the taxpayer, it turns logic and reason upside down, and they have to stop making that kind of argument, because we are not blinded. It's only those who refuse to use their reason who will believe in this kind of argument. But some of us will not listen to this kind of argument. I mean, it is totally bogus. Totally bogus. And Duncan Williams should stop telling us that we shouldn't go for all this abroad. We should give the money to build a cathedral and all of that. I mean, he should tell that to his own family and children. The church in Ghana is actually hiding behind a victim president. Akufo-Addo is a victim of the church. And the church is hiding behind him to defraud with the people. And the leaders, including those who are advocating for this idea of a national cathedral, are definitely not thinking about the future in terms of technologically, and also they're not thinking about the future in scientific terms. I mean, look, everything is becoming virtual. Have they even thought that perhaps in the future you don't even need a physical building to make a church? Even now, people have virtual churches. You have churches on social media, etc. I mean, it's all about the relationship, spiritual relationship between you and your Creator. The pastor is just trying to profit from you. You don't need a pastor or the priest or the so-called bishop to be able to commune with God. Natural philosophy is there to show us the creation. It's not about mythology or all these kinds of fabulous stories they give us. These fables are meant to just numb your brains, and that's exactly what our president is doing with this cathedral thing. And I tell you, Jesus will not be pleased. He was a foremost philanthropist. And if our president is truly a Christian president, and all the people supporting this idea are Christians, they should engage in philanthropy. They should give to the poor. Then we know that, yes, we have Christian leaders. But as for this idea of this legacy cathedral, so one day you remember that you build a cathedral. After all, President Kufuor built a Flagstaff House. And somebody to build something else. Therefore, Kufuor wants to build what? A cathedral. I mean, can't you just come up with some creative idea? What is a cathedral? For what? I mean, why are we doing this ourselves? And we claim that we are, I read the president the other day claiming that we are learning from the Chinese example. The Chinese don't go to church. They don't build churches. In fact, they're not even Christians, and they are a rich industrialized society. So if you are imitating the Chinese, what are you doing? I mean, and the Americans have a national cathedral, so you want to also build some? I mean, you go to Americans to borrow money. The Americans don't go with cap in hand begging. You have millions of our citizens dying from treatable and preventable malaria. We are poor. So why do you want to do things that the rich people are doing? If a poor man decides that he's going to act the way a rich man acts or live like a rich man, he's going to be arrested and put in prison because you end up stealing, you end up living beyond his means. This is not what it is that we are capable of doing. That money, we can actually use it for things that are much more worthwhile. Much more worthwhile. So if you claim you are imitating the Chinese, imitate them well. The Chinese are not building cathedrals. They're not even Christians. So what are you saying? And in the whole creation story, which encompasses the beneficence and the moral goodness and moral justice of God, which man is called upon to imitate, by the way. I learned this while I was in seminary school. God did not create a church. The whole idea of a church is the idea of man. So This whole idea about, if you build a cathedral, then suddenly our country will become a blessed nation, become a rich nation, or whatever. Please, 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 please. We don't listen to these kinds of stories. And therefore, if our president and his Christian supporters, because I don't forget, there are some MP people who are against this idea, and there are NDC people who support this idea. So the idea is beyond politics. It's a mixture of politics and religion. It's state and church mixed together. That's why I am very concerned about this confusion, mixing state and church. That's why some people are so confused. There are people in the NDC who support this idea. There are some people in the MPP who are against this idea. Yes, because it's all about Christian. And if you're a Muslim and you speak against the idea, they say because they're a Muslim, that's why I speak against the idea. And if you're a Christian like me and you speak against the cathedral, then they say you're not born again, or you are, speaking from carnal knowledge, human reason. All this, all these they are terms they use just to confuse you. Sorry, I would not be confused. If the president and his government and his followers and supporters want to build a cathedral, let them go ahead and build it. But they should not call it a national cathedral as if there's some national benefit or gain to it. I mean, the nation will not benefit anything. I mean, if the president dies, you go and bury him in the cathedral, how does it benefit the nation? You go and make a service in the cathedral, how does it benefit the nation? You can make the service in his house, you can make the service at the park, Independence Square, you can make the service at the State House. You have so many places to make funeral. So why do you spend money on a monumental building just for legacy? I think it's really ridiculous. And we those who use our head, we know that this idea is not really worth our time. And that's why some of us are speaking out against it. These are my thoughts. Many of you disagree, yes. But I am more concerned and interested in those who will get the insight and who will understand the perspective that I'm bringing forward. It is important that we take principled positions when these issues come up in the debate of our democracy. And this is my position, and my position is without apology. Thank you very much to everyone. It's been a revolutionary 2018, 2019. Hopefully, we hope there will be better ideas beyond the bogus ideas of building cathedrals and etc., etc., etc. Because this kind of leaderlessness, will not take Ghana forward. Let's keep speaking as citizens, not spectators. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Well, some people claim or say that the Christmas cannot be merry because the signs are clear and that there's so much lack of money, etc. Well, you can still make the Christmas merry even without money. Happiness is not just coming from money. So let's try to make ourselves happy. Let's have a Merry Christmas and hopefully a very prosperous New Year. Odobako.